We have some major news dropping about superstar Kevin Durant, as there are multiple reports coming in today relating to two specific teams from reporters from ESPN and the Suns insider in John Gambadoro, letting us know the future revealed on Kevin Durant in a surprise potential destination with the wildcard team, and ultimately revealing one team that did inquire about Kevin Durant that has been linked to him on Twitter by fans when looking at a potential package. So we're going to be diving in and exploring to all of this and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Veliz, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys so much for showing your love and support on these videos. Once again, we had that great live stream today where we dove into a bunch of stuff, looking at the coaching search, looking at some potential trades for the Phoenix Suns with some updates from John Gambadoro earlier today, and also we looked at some potential draft picks as well. So if you do enjoy the content, once again, hit the subscribe button, as you guys have been absolutely crushing it, and let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section on what you guys are thinking. But without further ado, let's get into it. Make sure to grab that snack and let's dive into it. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's about to kick off, and there's going to be trade discussions left and right, trade rumors left and right, all connected to superstar Kevin Durant. And there's plenty of more have already come out, as John Gambadoro stated yesterday and today that there were no talks previous about Kevin Durant until after the coaching search, and now that the Phoenix Suns have had their coach, they are going to look into these talks with Kevin Durant and his representationship to figure out the best deal for both parties. But Shams Charania over on ESPN today let us know that the Knicks, a team that has had some interest over on Twitter, or potentially some linkage, not really confirmed linkage, but a team that potentially, just made the conference finals, could benefit off of trading Kevin Durant, of him going to the Eastern Conference, made a formal trade to the Suns for Kevin Durant in February back at the trade deadline. Now, New York and Durant have mutual interest in a potential partnership, which could be explored again this off season. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, that means it has to be Karl-Anthony Towns, right? Karl-Anthony Towns has to come in that deal if that's going to be happening. But John Gambadoro reported today from the Arizona News that the Phoenix Suns have zero interest, in absolutely acquiring a guy in Karl-Anthony Towns and a potential Kevin Durant deal. And I have an article coming out for Bright Side of the Sun in a little while describing the likelihood of teams for Kevin Durant. And I kind of displayed for the New York Knicks that I felt that it was going to be a lot of obstacles for them to do so, because I feel like if you trade Karl-Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks, it doesn't really benefit both teams. The Knicks still don't have a center at that point, right? And have now three wings in Durant, Bridges, Hart, and OG Anunoby, technically four there. So they would have to make another trade with either Bridges or Josh Hart or OG Anunoby, and that just complicates things for them to just have make more moves after they only had one season really together with this team, and it was made right before the day before training camp when that Karl-Anthony Towns trade happened. So I don't think it really makes much sense for them. And then looking at the Phoenix Suns, once again, Karl-Anthony Towns, great relationship with Devin Booker, played with them in Kentucky, is a quality center, but his main deficiencies with Jalen Brunson was that they were both offensive players and had defensive limitations when playing against each other, even with the great wings in New York. And if you look at Phoenix, Devin Booker is an offensive player, and Phoenix doesn't have any of those wings to really insulate the team. So how is that going to benefit the team? Not only to the fact that if you do a Durant for Karl-Anthony Towns swap, it's 1-for-1. Can't get any more players involved because of how similar their contracts are. Towns is also on for an extended period of time compared to Durant, I believe 3 more years compared to Durant's 1. And add on the fact that New York doesn't have a lot of draft capital, so it'd be very sparring draft capital they'd be getting in return in a deal with Kevin Durant going to the New York Knicks. Personally, John, I don't think this is going to happen. John said on the radio show today that if they were to do a trade, it'd have to be involving OG Anunoby, potentially Mikal Bridges. Now, once again, I don't really see New York moving off of OG Anunoby. Maybe they do pull the trigger. Maybe they do feel that that is the move that they need to do to bring in Kevin Durant. And OG Anunoby, I think, would be a great fit for the Phoenix Suns in that regard. But I don't see them realistically doing that. And then when you look at another player in Mikal Bridges, I mean, it makes sense. Obviously, he has that Phoenix attachment of already playing here. The fans would love it. But Durant was already traded for Mikal Bridges. And obviously, it was with a different team, the Brooklyn Nets. But if you're the Phoenix Suns, are you willing to admit your mistake of trading away Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson to then once again trade away Kevin Durant again for Mikal Bridges, even if he has gotten better? Like, I feel like that's just a slap in the face to the ownership and not something that they're going to want to take, and we'll get some backlash from some fans or from some outside media if they were to perform a move like that. So ultimately, I don't see both of those moves realistically happening, regardless of the fact of how great Mikal Bridges would be back to have, obviously, in Phoenix because of the fans' attachment to him and how valuable of a player he could be as a 3-and-D wing, suiting alongside Devin Booker. With those two implications being in mind, that's where I kind of settle with the New York Knicks here, as I don't realistically see them being a big trade partner for the Phoenix Suns involving Kevin Durant, but who knows? We're in an offseason of surprises. Luka Doncic got traded to the Mavericks. Anything can happen, so definitely keep your eyes peeled on that front. But let me know what you guys think on a potential Kevin Durant, Karl Anthony Towns deal, or potentially Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby. With those players and Mikal or OG, you would be getting another piece back, potentially a Josh Hart or something, so definitely something to keep an eye on. And once again, swat and block from Gambo right there. Forgot to hit that when I hit that button, but yeah, that was Gambo, obviously, saying no to Karl Anthony Towns. And he talked about another team as well, which is new for the Phoenix Suns, and definitely perk your ears for this one, Phoenix Suns fans, as we've heard the rumors of potentially Houston, San Antonio, Dallas was in the mix for a little while, right? Of all these rumblings of a linkage. Maybe the Nuggets, maybe Miami. But the Clippers now, as Gambo's reporting, he said on Arizona Sports Radio today, alongside with all this news shutting down Karl Anthony Towns with no interest from the Phoenix Suns in a deal back, the Clippers are a potential destination for Kevin Durant. And he mentioned that there is some potential, linkage with that. They could try to do something. Now, in my article, I did write about this, and they are a little bit of a complicated team. I think that they would make the most sense for Durant if he wanted to return back to California, as he could play alongside Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, etc., and kind of be that missing offensive scoring piece. The only problem is what is the Clippers willing to trade back? The Clippers do have 2 future first-round picks that they are able to give up. Are they willing to give up their 2030 and 2032 first-round picks? If they're willing to do so, that is a big swing for Phoenix to get some late draft capital on a team that obviously is at an older roster with Harden, Kawhi, and Kevin Durant. And in 2030 and 2032, who knows if any 3 of them are on the roster, if any of them are on the roster, and that would allow Phoenix to potentially recoup some great draft assets, or in the future use that draft asset as a luring asset to trade for another superstar to put alongside Devin Booker. Now, obviously, when you look at the contracts that potentially could go back, some names mentioned, maybe a Chris Dunn, Bogdanovich. There's obviously Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac, which I don't think would be coming back to the Suns. Derrick Jones Jr. is another name that they could potentially throw out there. The Clippers do have a lot of veteran-type contracts that they could, combine to really get together for the Phoenix Suns. But I do think that it all depends on what Phoenix is looking to get in a return, and ultimately what Kevin Durant wants as well. They obviously are going to try to figure out the best of both worlds for both people here. But if Durant wants to go to a specific team or something like that, is kind of forcing himself this way there, maybe Phoenix doesn't have a really choice in what package they kind of really get and just have to kind of take whatever they can for Durant. Or if Phoenix does have the ultimate cards in their hands and can really decide on what they want to do. Obviously, when looking at some of these packages, it all depends. Do they want to go a little bit veteran heavy, looking at a team like the Clippers? Do they want to go a little bit younger, maybe a San Antonio, maybe a Houston, potentially even a Miami if they're willing to give up some of their younger assets? That's all up in the cards and play for Matt Ishbia, Brian Gregory, and this Phoenix front office to really lock in and decide on what they want to do. Like I said, talks are going to be starting for Kevin Durant over these next couple of weeks. The reports have been stated from Shams Charania and from John Gambadoro that they will try to deal Kevin Durant before the draft, most likely after the finals as well. So in the next coming of 20 days should be some news revolving around Kevin Durant potentially being on another roster, and we'll have to get all that breaking down as well. So with the rumors circulating around, if you want to stay up to date on everything Kevin Durant related or Phoenix Suns related, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you have that central place here on Suns Digest to catch up all the news, as we have multiple updates a day going up for you guys, and definitely we'll be continuing to go through not only talking with just trade talk, but some draft prospects that we really like, some live streams going over some potential talking of the team, and everything revolving around this Phoenix Suns squad with updates and news. So if you're interested, once again, hit the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.